Live. Okay, I'm there. Okay. And how do I share the link? Sorry for this.
No, that's absolutely all right. This is the gift technology brings with us sometime. I to enjoy these things now because no matter what you do, at the last moment, something has to go. So,
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I will just copy.
my pleasure.
Sorry for this.
Whatever you do, at the last moment, something.
So something has gone wrong with LinkedIn. So
Yeah,
I
I
just,
think maybe some internal glitch. Yeah.
yeah, I just, anyway, I have, all right, we will get going. I'm sure we would find ways on how people can connect with us. So I've shared the YouTube link with
Sure.
people. Hopefully they would join. So I'm sorry, we will. Hi Surya, good to see you. So restarting this, Avinash. Tell us
Perfect.
the science behind or the reason behind why Namaste is something
Yeah.
that what you use mostly.
Absolutely. So, no, Ketan, this is a very ancient word, and I think the only word which has no alternative in the English language also. This word simply means that, when I say namaste to someone, it's just not a replacement of hello or hi. This word, when I say it, means that the highest principle within me, the highest aspect within me, or the divinity within me is acknowledging the highest within you, right? So it is bypassing the physical conditioning we have been through, the name, the tags, the labels, and it's acknowledging the source, the consciousness within you, right? So I find this very beautiful because in a daily language, this was meant to happen in a way. That's why these ancient people designed this word. So that's what namaste is all about. The recognizing that there is within you a part which is within me as well, and know that we are connected to that higher source. Yeah, so that is namaste.
But how did you discover this? Like if I wouldn't have heard this from you, I would have assumed that this is how it's supposed to be. What, what, what's the reason, or what do you do to find? And what is the curiosity behind finding these things and discovering these things? And so pure, so amazing to,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
somewhere I feel not okay to not know my culture also. But what makes you find for these answers?
This one particular, I did not put much effort to find. I joined a program called as Pranic Healing, and in the Pranic Healing program, this is a culture they follow wherein they introduce with Atma Namaste, which is that Namaste to the soul, not to the body. So I learned there, and the teacher, Master Choa Kuksoi, the founder of Pranic Healing, he did a lot of study in terms of understanding the ancient culture of all religion, like Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, and they found the best practices, and then it came in together in the practices of pranic healing and hatha yoga. I was lucky to find this I know there, and also another person I know, Jerry Almeida. He's a leadership coach, international, at an international stage. And in his talk, he always he start his talk with Namaste. Though he being a Christian
Hmm.
by religion, but he uses Namaste to start his talks, right? And even he once affirmed that this is what Namaste stands for. So I think we have these golden nuggets, though over a period of
Yeah.
time they have been blanketed by the overuse, and the meaning has lost in a way, right? So happy to really discover all these stuff.
No, this is interesting. Now, tell me, let me come to the question straight. I remember seeing one of your posts where you spoke about that few years back. You went through some difficulties in life, and probably you adopted or you got exposed to a new practice. Tell us about the journey of what you do today, from what you started with, where you started with, and what happened, and how did you get into the manifestation, breakthrough, coaching, the entire practice that you do right now.
Sure, sure. I'll try to squeeze in a minute or 2 minutes time. So, I was born in this place called as Jharkhand, Bokaro city. Uh, I was a very average student throughout. Just managed to get 60% passing marks just before examination. The motivation was that's fair. If you do not get passing marks, you'll be dead. But in the entire schooling system, the challenge happened was that the school primarily acknowledge or measure or evaluate your scholastic index, right? Maybe your English, maybe your memory, or maybe your IQ. But the gift we get, all of us, we have different gifts which are not even recognized or worked on. So the belief I formed for myself was that I'm a very average student, good for nothing. You have a life, get through examination, get a job, marry, have kids, and die one day. That's the framework which was looking like the vision for life in a way. So for me, inside, I was feeling very low on self-worth, self-esteem. Very low on self-worth, self-esteem. No significance as well. No self-worth, self-esteem as well. And this question at the background was haunting me. What is the true reality? What is the greater reality about ourselves? Is that some people are born genius and the rest of us are average people, or something more to the story? I came to Pune 2004, and I got hold of a book, Power of Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. And
Yeah,
that book talked about that we all have the infinite potential, but because since childhood, the very thing we have got, which is the brain to think, that thinking is conditioned to think in a certain way. You can't see the reality, you can't see the potential for yourself. And so this book talked about that you have the potential, you can unwire yourself, rewire your mind, and you can really achieve great stuff. And till then I was still exploring these concepts. But cutting the long story short, when I came to my post graduation 6 7 years later, that's when I implemented these concepts very well. That let me rewire my mind now. Can my visualization affect me to such extent that I can change my results in a way? And being a backbencher, no good command over English, very low on confidence. In my MBA, I became the best of the batch, a lakh rupees cash prize, multiple offers of job from many companies. I met some of the top CEOs, Microsoft Director India, Airbus MD, and these people became my close mentors as well in a way. And that 2 year,
wow.
especially the convocation when it happened, that shifted me completely. That these are not just theories. If you put it to practice, you would see the results happening. And post that, I was so high on confidence that instead of joining a company back, I said, my director asked me, Professor MS Pillai, one of the person who transformed my life completely, he told me, why don't you stay back in the campus for a few years, work for the campus, and then go back? This was an alumni-driven campus, Sadhana Center for Management and Leadership Development. And Professor Pillai was known to he was the founder of SC Michadi as well. Symbiosis took
Yeah.
him Michadi to that level. And I joined by the campus. 3 4 years I worked with the campus. And in campus, my role was to be the corporate guy, meet the HR heads and the CEOs, and get the companies in campus for placement. But in the night, 1 o'clock, I'll work in the hostel with these kids who are very low on confidence, like me as well. They came from small places, very weak on studies. And for 4 years, 3 4 years, I kept on working with these kids. And guess what? Every year, the highest in the batch or the highest placement, best student award, would come from the batch I was training in. All these
Wow.
principles of visualization, neuroscience, NLP. And I said, this something is working here. Now I can replicate the results. So 2015 is when this intuition came to me that instead of joining back the company, why not start on your own? Why not jump in the river and learn swimming, right? And that's when I started this venture. And now 7 8 years now in the work. Today we are. I still remember the first workshop. 5 people turned up. I made 12,000 rupees profit. That was like the wow time after like being for 2 years struggling trying to build all this stuff. And today now we do this work in around 26 cities in India, 5 countries we have participants from. We have series of classroom workshops, online sessions, one-to-one coaching with some of the top CEOs, directors, entrepreneurs, right? And the vision we have is like, I think I went through that situation where I realized that what you feel about yourself, right, is not who you are truly. It is the conditioning you're carrying with you. So unconditioning it and rewiring the mind is a foundational work. And all the work you do somewhere connecting science and spirituality comes from that particular thing. And that's the objective, that can we make people realize the true untapped potential you're carrying right now. We may not know it because there is a label you have given, there are conditioning memories in the past, but there exists within you still a beautiful, pure potential, untapped completely. So that's the work we carry out as of now. And that's the story. I don't know if it makes sense in a way, but yeah.
No, it did. It did. I could relate to one part of the story. My LinkedIn says I'm the ordinary guy with extraordinary dreams. So I've been the person who had no talent, visible talent. I was the one who would stand in the crowd and clap for my friends when they would do well in school, sports, or education, or co-curricular. And I thought, this is where, this is how life is supposed to be. I will somehow manage a 9 to 5 job, and if I'm lucky enough, I'll save enough to buy a house during my retirement. So yeah, that's the perspective that I got, and I'm sure
Yeah,
you could relate to this. At least I'm from the other side of the state that you're talking about. When it was one state called Bihar, and
yeah,
doctors, engineers, UPSC, these were the only three options that were made available. So I could
absolutely.
relate to it. In fact, I realized the power of the belief and this limiting belief as a concept almost 2 years back. I was scared of speaking to people. I was scared of expressing myself. I carried that limiting belief, especially about the language, my language skills. And when I hired a coach and I went through this process, and when I identified, something happened when I was a child, and it had, as you said, the stamping done, which I gave my self interpretation and started behaving like that, because theoretically belief is equal to behavior, it leads to behavior, right? And
Absolutely,
when
yes.
that got rewired, I realized how powerful it was. I haven't experienced it to another larger level, but I can tell you this concept of limiting belief. And now when I meditate, I use those affirmations. I use that power statement. It changes a lot for me. But so glad to hear that I'm not the only one who probably had something like this, and I'm actually a use case sitting in front of you who has also benefited out
Yeah.
of it. So
Ketan,
that's
I do a lot of work with some of the very best people in the industry. These are people who are running million-dollar companies, some of the best CEOs, and you'll not believe, they do not have any other challenge than this. That they feel nervous when the meeting is coming, when the board meeting is there. They feel they are not enough. They're feeling something is lacking within them. So the challenge typically remains the same at across categories, which I have seen in my work in a way. So I think this is the fundamental problem, that there is a conditioning which we have been, and so much of external validation we seek for ourselves, not realizing that inside is the work which needs to be done in a way.
and so is there a science behind this, Avinash? I when I was growing up, at least in my part of the world, it was said that if there is logic, then it exists, otherwise it doesn't, right?
Absolutely,
So
yes.
the mind still, probably that conditioning still come into picture. But for our audience, do you want to, you know,
Yeah.
unfold or share with people what's the science behind this?
Sure. So amazing. Belief has now become a complete scientific study, and I'll give you a couple of research on this, and that will show the power of belief. One research was done by Dr. Alia Crum from Stanford, one of the foremost researcher on mindset. There are three, four studies, very phenomenal studies, but let me give you a couple of them at least. So what they did was they went to a hotel, right, and they interviewed the staff of the hotel.
Hmm.
Now they made the staff into two groups, group one and group two, right? Now the group one staff was just asked about their daily work and all that they do, and they were told nothing. Group two, they interviewed the staff, and they told the staff that the amount of work you carry out in a day, which is going down, coming up, cleaning the room, and all of it, they said that the amount of work you do is sufficient enough, which is prescribed by the physician in terms of the workout you should carry out. Now this was a fake thing. This was not a real measure of the work they're carrying out. So, but this was implanted in the mind that the amount of work you carry out is the amount of work which is required to be healthy. Now, a month goes by. A month after they come in, they check these people. The first group uh, had the same level of weight and everything was same, nothing changed. But interestingly, group two, to them, where the belief was fed that the amount of work you do is sufficient for you to be healthy, these group of people, females, they end up losing weight, physical weight. No exercise was done, no extra gym was done, no dieting was done. Everything remained the same. It was a complete control study. They end up losing weight just having the thought that the amount of work I do is enough for my physical fitness, and they end up losing weight. Imagine that. Number one, number first study. Arya Kram, amazing TED talk on YouTube is there. Somebody can go and just search the TED talk. There's some more studies she cites. One. Second study was done in Japan. They took 13 students, right? And these were college going students, blindfolded completely. So they can't see what is happening. The researcher in the first experiment, they on their hand, they rubbed what we call as the simple, plain, harmless leaf, right? They rubbed the leaf on their hand, but it was told to the student that we are rubbing the poisonous ivy leaf. There's a leaf which is poisonous ivy. We are running that leaf, rubbing that leaf, but in actual it was just a normal leaf. Guess what? All 13 of them had allergy, swelling, inflammation, rashes on the spot, despite the leaf not being poisonous. In the second experiment, this time they actually rubbed the poisonous leaf, but they told we are rubbing the harmless leaf. And guess what? Out of 13, only two had allergy, 11 had no impact at all, despite all of them being allergic to this leaf. What they concluded from the study was, irrespective of your external reality, what is your inner reality? That determines what is your inner experience, to the extent of body creating allergy, inflammation, and healing as well. Now, this primarily has come in the area of placebo effect. Now, if you go and see what is placebo, it is nothing but a simple, like any medicine, which is not a medicine, by the way. It's a sugar pill given to you, and it was told that it's a medicine, and you come out of cancer, you come out of arthritis. There is no operation done. It's a fake surgery done, right? And this is done by a doctor in US, a fake surgery done. And those people who had real pain of arthritis, the pain disappears. Surgery was not done at all. It was just a fake surgery. They just cleaned the place, but the amount of time spent in the operation theater was the same. And they saw a video, which was an old surgery video being conducted. So these are now proper scientific studies done where they have seen how powerful the human mind is. Another study was done by Ellen Langer from Harvard in 1980s, and this was such a phenomenal study. She did not publish this for next 20 years for the fear that people will, kind of boycott her from the community. She's a Harvard professor, Ellen Langer. She took 10 people, 10 old age people, 75-year-old, to a monastery. And these people were asked to pretend they are 20-year younger, 55-year-old, right? Now they can only bring magazines from that time, those photographs, those ID cards. When they reached to the monastery, the same news was playing, which was the 20 years back. Same newspapers were kept there, and they had to be absolutely in the past 20 years back. Guess what? And they're tested before and after, like their height, their cognition, their blood test, everything. In a matter of 10 days, the person who walked in a crutch, using a crutch, was playing touch football on the last day.
Wow.
People improve their height. Memory, which we know that with age it deteriorates, the memory improved by 10%, vision improved by 10%. And what happened exactly? They just pretended they were 20 years younger. And there's such a radical study. And she published a book called as Counterclockwise, where the study was published in a way. It just showed that what you conceive of yourself mentally influence your body as well, right? So belief are extremely powerful. It is not the reality, but it is a perception of the reality, but that itself becomes the reality for the mind and the body. So extremely powerful, and we all are affected by beliefs, either empowering one or a disempowering one, in fact.
Excellent. Thank you. We have Surya. Surya, hi. Yeah, thank you for joining in. Nice to see you. Shiva, hi. So Shiva also shares that talking about Milgram's experience, experiment is also about belief and conditioning. So I'm not much aware of this, Shiva, but thank you for sharing that. I'll definitely try to grab more about that. And I'll. Kritika says, when did it start? Kritika, sorry, there was something with a problem with StreamYard and it did not, the first stream did not work, so I had to recreate another one. But glad to see you here. Thank you for that. So Avinash, we spoke about the science part. How people have started to, there are more and more proofs coming in. You
Absolutely.
also talk about the wisdom part, right? The ancient wisdom, our past practices, the beliefs that we have been carrying for generations. Throw some light on that. What are the things that you have discovered, which we all can understand more of what you are sharing with us?
Absolutely. Ketan, one of the fundamental, aspect of a spirituality or ancient wisdom was that we do not live in a world which is separated. We live in a world which is very interconnected, which means I see you and you are there and I'm here, and we think there is a separation right now. Or I see objects, I see people, I see things, and I see there's a disconnection, there is a separation, there's a gap. But the ancient people were very clear, and in fact, all religion plus all the cultures, the great teachers talked about this, that we are all connected through an energy web. We live in a very, very kind of a holographic universe. In fact, that's a book published by one of the authors in 70s. I'm missing the name of the guy. The Holographic Universe was the book name. But this idea, Michael Tableau is the guy who wrote this book. And majorly the text was inspired by David Bohm, one of the quantum physicists, early researcher on this. So this idea that we live in a interconnected world, we all are connected, which means what you go through, I also experience to a certain extent. Or my thoughts, my emotion, my belief has an influence in the area I'm in right now to a certain extent. Or my thoughts, my belief will have an influence on my boss, my family, my loved ones. It is just not that I can be in isolation. There has to be a linkage. Now, this was a very old idea, and now with science, we are now understanding that this is actually true. And I'll give you a couple of insights on this. One, if anybody follows quantum physics, right? Uh, the fundamental understanding of quantum physics is that we are not in a material world. We thought matter is the ultimate, which is not the case now. We know inside the matter you go, you find atoms, you go inside, you find subatomic particles, right? And what we call as atom, which we have read in science in our early days, that atom, if you look at the scientific understanding of this, an atom is 99.999% empty space. Only the 0.001% is a proton inside the atom and moving around in the electron and all of it, right? The 99.9% empty space in atom is not empty. What quantum physics discovered, and these people like, you know, Max Planck and these scientists, Edwin, missing his name. Uh, these people, what they discovered was that this empty space is not empty; it is filled with energy, and that primarily brought the understanding of quantum physics in a way. Now, one thing we understand now through multiple experiments in quantum physics, that we are connected with a field of energy, right? This not just all material object. There is a invisible energy reality we are in right now. Now, some of the experiments in this area. One experiment was, imagine, uh, if you and me are disconnected, my prayers would have no role onto you, right? Now, there's
Yeah.
studies done, and especially by Dr. Dean Radin from Institute of Noetic Sciences. So they took two group of people, women who were, whose intention was to get pregnant, you know, and they divided this two group in a double blind study, and a group of people were asked to pray for them, and nobody knew who was praying for whom in a way, in terms of the name and the person, right? But the group which was prayed for, in those group, the ladies had twice the rate of pregnancy compared to the first group. So there was a statistical significant data that the group which was prayed for, they shown better results in terms of pregnancy as well. Then it was done on animals, right? The animals who were wounded, the ones who were prayed for, they had faster recovery compared to the group which was not prayed for, you know. So there are many experiments done, you know, which now highlights that your intention, it goes out of your mind and affects the world outside, the physical reality outside, you know. Institute of Heart Math US, a group of researchers, they are doing very amazing study. They have measured the energy field which the heart creates and how we are connected to this field, and my field affects your field. And look, all of this is good scientifically, but we all know, right, that when we think of a loved one, somehow the call comes eventually. Like, no, I was thinking about
Yeah.
you, here the call arrives in a way, right? So there is an underlying understanding that we are connected with a field of energy, and which means, no, there's nothing separation here. It's all oneness in a way.
And then how difficult or easy is it? How does it work? Is there a process, or it is just about I can go it say on the social YouTube or Google and read it and do it, or do you think a process can impact the result differently? What has been You've been a
Yeah.
practitioner here, so
Yeah.
help us understand that, Avinash.
So you know what, Ketan, what happens is, like, imagine you're going to a gym, right? And you go to a gym for 3 days and you just lift up dumbbells, right? Now there will be some changes. You'll find the muscle to be more tight, you know, a bit of pain. The shirt would be a bit tight, so you'll feel something has shifted, right? But that's not
Yeah.
lasting. That's not lasting. 2 days after, you do not go and you come back to the natural shape. Now, for having a physical shape, which is, you know, your body is developed now, you have to be a regular practitioner in the gym. You have to go to the exercise every single day to develop the muscles in a way. When it comes to us things like manifestation, the mistake people do is, one fine day they will sit and they'll say, I want to practice affirmation today because I want a new job. I want to practice visualization. I want a new job, you know. But that's not a very good strategy. And I'll tell you why exactly. Imagine in the ocean, there are two fish. One is a large fish, one is a small fish, right? So if there's a fight, which fish will eat whom? The bigger one would eat any given the smaller one, right? Now imagine if a person is staying maybe stressful, negative throughout the day, and for 10 minutes in the evening, they'll take out time to really do something to manifest a job, or maybe a relationship, maybe some opportunities. But listen, throughout the day you were stressed, you were negative, you were like all complaining, cribbing, and all of that part. And that 5 minutes typically has no role over the 20 hours you spend in that negativity in a way, you know, and the result will not be visible in a way. So I think the fundamental understanding, which this is nothing new, by the way, people have talked about this, is that you shift your default energy, you shift your core personality. And you know, and there's this amazing researcher, Dr. Joe Dispenza, who is doing a lot of work in this, you know, on this area. And he says one line which is very profound. He says that your personality creates your personal reality, right? So the kind of
Loved
person
it.
you are has an effect over the life you live. Now, when I say about personality, who we are in a way. So we see there's a physical body. Absolutely, I can see that part. I see there is a mind, and the mind can be used to create thoughts. I see there is a heart, and I can feel emotions with my heart. And I see there's a physical body I can take action in. So primarily, we're talking about, when you talk about a personality at a very elementary level, is the mind, is the heart, is the body. Mind creates thought, heart creates emotion, and the body takes action. So these are three instruments, if I call as instruments, right? Three instruments we have to really function in the world right now. I create thought at a speed of light every single day, thousands of thoughts. I feel emotion throughout the day, and I take action in a way. When somebody is willing or wanting to work on changing their life, these three needs to be worked on, right? Now, fundamentally, have you ever sat back and asked yourself, what is my thinking pattern? Is it on a
Hmm.
positive side or a negative side? There is a science of this, which says that, no, the science of psychoneuroimmunology, PNI, that your thought instantly becomes a chemical. You feel a negative thought, and you'll find the body is now feeling uneasy. Why? Because the circuits together creates a chemical you feel in the body right now. You know, a stressful thought, stressful emotion. So, have you, as of now, watched what kind of thoughts you have been cultivating about your life? Now, you want something to happen good in your life, but throughout the day, you are holding anxiety or scarcity or fear. Now those thoughts are not going to bring, right, the joy or the happiness you want for yourself. So first work is, and what you rightly mentioned, like you do affirmation in the night, is to work on the mind and to consciously create the right kind of thoughts which you want to experience in your life. First step. Second step comes in that, we just do not feel emotion, we create emotion. Though I see a news channel right now and I feel stressed with the war going on, but though I feel stressed with the news channel, but it was my choice to be on the news, see the news, and really feel that stress. But same time, Ketan, I can see the news, I can feel the stress, and I can pause and I say, I'm going to put a prayer right now. God, thank you for blessing these
Wow.
people and the country. Now I change my emotion from stress to compassion to love. So emotion doesn't happen on its own. We create it either consciously or unconsciously. And third is my action. Is my action in alignment to my goal, my visions, or the things I want? So some people say, okay, if you're manifesting, think about it and sit and have sandwich. That's not going to work for you. If you're wanting to, really create something, though you use your mind and emotion, the energy of thought and emotion, but physical action needs to be in integrity with these two as well. When these three combine together, mind, emotion, and action, you're talking about somebody becoming completely unbeatable. Sooner or later, they will have the results for themselves, whatever they want for themselves, right? So eventually, the final point is you have to really change the default you, the personality, and that comes from meditation practices, maybe yoga, reading good books, when your brain starts shifting. And this is what, the concept of growth mindset from Stanford coming up now, that when people have growth mindset, they have much better results. These people grow, they get massive results in their life compared to fixed mindset people, so yeah, that's about it.
No, very interesting. I think this is a perspective I was also personally seeking, because there are a lot of people that I know, and with all due respect to multiple theories that exist, that just put a picture or start thinking, and the world will change. What I'm understanding from you is, and I could relate it to a concept that I love, what Robin Sharma has to say. He speaks about head set, heart set, soul set, and health set, right? I am seeing it closer to. I'm seeing a connect of what you're saying, and what I love is it is also about it has to be far more deeper and long term in the change. It's not about I just do it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes in one part of the day, and rest part of the day is painful. You're saying it'll never be powerful enough to create those changes. Emotion, I love that part. Is about a choice that we make, and I think a very important part is action. Historically, or a lot of place where I've seen people misunderstanding manifestation when they say, okay, if I just manifest, it will happen. What I hear from you is that you need to act to in that bring it together. It's a cohesion. Brilliant. Thank you so
I'll just give one more line on this. So now imagine if somebody's manifesting a job, right? And I'm putting this imagination in my mind, the visualization, my brain is changing. We know with visualization, we can change the brain cells. I am feeling more confident, and I feel now it's a possibility for me to get a job. And now I'm putting this energy out as per law of attraction. I would be seeing some opportunities. But in that case, you cannot be simply locked in the room, disconnected from the world, and hoping that somehow the company would turn up in your house and say, listen, you manifested, I have a job for you right now. This doesn't work
yeah.
out. You have to be in the market, right? So I'll tell you one of the cases, amazing cases of this manifestation. I had this one person with me, one of my participant, Mumbai based, and no, he was going through a depression phase. He joined the workshop and did a lot of work, and he started practicing. So every day he'll practice it out, visualization, changing his energy, becoming more joyful, more happy, choosing to feel these emotions. So for 3 months, nothing happened. And he called me one day and said, Avinash, I've been practicing for 3 months, nothing happened for me. I say, I think you're just very close. Just continue practicing. And I did not know he's close or not, but the only hope we can give is just continue the work, right? Things changes eventually. We know this part, but when we do not know in a way, right? Guess what? I spoke, and maybe in couple of weeks time, from nowhere, a friend of his called, a school time friend, and this guy was a Ranji Trophy player from I think Rajasthan in a way, right? And one of his friends calls him and says, "Hey, Dave, where you are? No, I've been thinking about you, and I thought to call you right now." And they spoke, and lo and behold, this guy, my participant, uh, and the guy who called him, he was working closely with Dhoni, Mahendra Singh Dhoni, and this guy. gets a job in the brand managing team with Mahendra Singh Dhoni in a matter of a week's time, possibly. You know, but listen, he manifested an opportunity, not knowing from where it will come. But a friend called up, but he had to take action to respond to the call, talk, apply, send, go and talk for the interview, right? Similarly, people are willing to manifest the job. Then are you present on LinkedIn? Now, what will happen is when you're manifesting a new job, taking action, you're visible on LinkedIn, you're reaching out to people as well, out of which maybe one would click, right? Now, the one would click would possibly have the same kind of role you wanted, same kind of package you wanted. That will be a match. But you have to be visible on the platform, or you have to at least talk to some people, Otherwise, some people take it a wrong way that I'll do nothing and things will happen. That may still happen. But as of now, we do not have that level of ability. The yogis may have, wherein they think and they can literally change things to happen. No, but I think physical action becomes very important. Otherwise, you will start doubting your own self. Okay, look, I'm not taking action. How it will happen, right? So with all this, I speak. Even I take action to meet people, to connect with people. In fact, to build, to do marketing, because you have to be at a physical level, be physically out, and plus do the inner work as well. So both has to go hand in hand in a way.
This probably is the biggest takeaway for me today because I've been trying to understand. Few theories would say just think, everything will happen, but the action and the manifestation, which means you're saying manifest action is a subset of manifestation, not like just
Absolutely,
visualizing and putting a photo there and locking yourself is going to change your world. No, it will
absolutely,
it will it will channelize your thought, it will channelize your energy, but you have to take consistent actions to ensure that you're
absolutely.
getting closer to it. Otherwise, then it's not about being lucky that something will fall in your lap. That may happen, but I think it's about one in a million. But if you want to increase your chances and get there, then manifestation has an action part.
like
That's
like
that's
like you can take your example in a way. If I take your example, imagine, and I'm presuming, I'm not sure of this. I imagine you have a goal of reaching X amount of money in next 5 years time. You say I want to retire in 5 years time having at least 10 cr in my account. Suppose this is the goal you have. I do not know. Now, if that is the goal and you are literally imagining, visualizing that reality for yourself, that in 5 years this is my intention. Now, how this may turn up. So you're doing your job, with job very less likelihood of somebody in 5 years reaching to 10 cr kind of thing, until you have investment which grows multifold in a way. But look, now you're doing this live right now, and you are regular with this live, and this is on LinkedIn. Now there is a possibility being created right now. What if tomorrow somebody comes across this kind of live, and they sees you interviewing these people, and they say, this guy I like, in a way, the kind of work he's doing. And what if maybe a company, maybe a brand says, look, we are wanting to start a new show, would you like to be a part of it? No, we saw your series, we liked it, would you be a part of it? And here you get an opportunity, and maybe that opportunity may end up possibly giving you that, maybe a startup, maybe something which ends up becoming the means to that goal of having 10 cr in account in 5 years time. So this is the action we're talking about: the mental action of a thought, emotional action of emotion, and the physical action of taking some action outside, which becomes the funnel for you to reach there. Maybe a book, maybe a kind of this program, maybe a series you have, maybe a course you carry out. Something has to come in physical level through which the abundance or the goal you want gets into the physical reality. Otherwise, you're talking about, it's like wild fantasies, but this will not be in really in existing existence in a way. Yeah,
That's important one. That's an important one. And wild fantasies, yeah, or fairy tales, right? That
fairy tales,
you put in things and then you expect world to change. Now,
absolutely.
I don't know if you did mention that you work with a lot of people who are across the various diasporas, and as I said, who I want to reach is people. As I said, we are the employees first if you're working in corporate, and then any other role comes. Uh, are there things or are there tools, are there systems, are there practices that people can inculcate to create more value? End of the day, what I've realized, it's about the value that we create, right? We create value, and in exchange of value there is a value creation that happens. So, any quick tips or thoughts for people, especially who are working professionals, on what and how about they can use something like this?
You're saying about they growing the career and something of that sort.
Yeah, so I see career for me is long term is a journey, right? As I said, it's about how to maximize the value that they create. See, one thing that I've realized in my HR practice is, everything boils down to the value creation. If I create enough, if I demand more value in terms of monetary reward, it's easier to get. Not
Yeah,
creating a value. I'm expecting a higher value is where the mismatch. Vice versa, right? End of the
right.
day, uh, are are people going to miss you if you're not going to be around, right? Are
Yeah,
people call you, inspire you, for the person you are over the role that you manage? So a lot of these things,
absolutely,
when-
absolutely.
the saying is, uh, if each one a great citizen, the nation becomes super awesome, right? That's where. So if each one of us are also focused on becoming a great employee before becoming a great manager and leader and so, right? I think the world will start to change. So any thoughts on that?
Yeah, sure. So no, Ketan, so very good question. In fact, so when we talk about human beings and what they do, what they create, what they deliver, now this is not same every time. Even if you look at employee, in a company, and you track their performance, you'll see the performance will change, right? And multiple factors behind. Now, what are some of the very, very inbuilt factors which we have influence on? And number one, lot of studies in last 20 years, in fact the entire domain of positive psychology talks about this part. There is an amazing book by Sean Acott from Harvard called as Happiness Advantage. There's studies done, and especially meta studies, which is like the combining 200 studies on these areas of happiness and joy, which highlights that when people are happy, their brain, their awareness, their prefrontal cortex, the thinking mind, works much more powerfully compared to when you're in stress or panic or into a negative emotion in a way. So happiness enhances your awareness, your perception, helps you regulate your negative emotions. Eventually, it helps you impact your performance. Now, people who are happy, they're known to have better income, better salary, better relationships. They fall sick much less. In fact, a Google study was done wherein they injected a virus to two group of people. One group was given the virus, cold and cough virus, and and they were seeing that how much these people are having inflammation, congestion, and cough and all. And second group was first made happy and then given the virus, the cough and cold strain of virus. And guess what? The people who are happy and they're given virus, less number of people fell sick. They recovered faster compared to the first group. And that was one of the research which made companies like Google bring policies that how can we maximize the employee happiness. Now, why I'm saying this is happiness is a very powerful hack for the brain. If you see the brain on happiness, you'll be astonished completely. It's only in happiness when you're all the learning center in the brain is switched on, because typically two neurotransmitters are being released when you're happy, which is dopamine and serotonin, right? So if I have to handle a complex task, mostly we say, come on, become serious, become sincere and focus on this right now, all stressful. But on the contrary, if you're happy and approaching the task, chances of you finding a solution is much higher, right? So happiness is no more just a good after feeling. If you want to really deliver massive value, right, can you cultivate the state of happiness the way we generally cultivate the state of stress in the office today? If the boss sees you and you're not stressful, oh, this guy's not working, how come he's not stressed? Now, that's a whole theory. Today you have to understand, when you're happy, joyful, peaceful, gratitude, it enhances your functioning within, and especially the device you have called as brain. And you can be more productive if you're coming from that state. And this is proper science now. If somebody goes and just Google it, research on happiness and gratitude, there'll be like more than millions of articles out there, right? One. Second is a research from Stanford by Dr. Carol Dweck, amazing researcher, on fixed mindset and growth mindset. Now, what they found was that if kids have fixed mindset, which means I say, Ketan, you are super intelligent, Ketan, you are talented, Ketan, you're smart. If I give you those labels, over a period of time, your performance declines, because
Oh,
you have to manage this label. And they found those kids who were given this label, you're smart, you're intelligent, you're talented, they do not they do not want to take challenges. They don't want to face obstacles. They don't want to take feedbacks. They will ignore, because for them, and they ask, why are you not taking challenge? And they would say, if I'm intelligent, right, and if I take a challenge, if I fail, then you will not call me as intelligent. So I have to maintain this label. Means do not take the obstacle, just take the shortcut and be where you are right now. To the extent of cheating as well. They'll cheat just to maintain the label that they're intelligent. But on the contrary, what they found was the kids with less marks, not very strong in those subjects, but they had growth mindset, which means that these skills like intelligence, these abilities like intelligence, talent, these are not fixed qualities. These can be improved and developed on. Now, when these kids were told this, that listen, intelligence can be developed, perseverance plays a major role. That's where your brain forms new connection and you become smarter. These kids, over a period of 2 years, went to outperform the first group as well, and who were not, really intelligent to start with. Growth mindset. So, as an employee, am I willing to accept challenge or escape from challenges? One, am I willing to face obstacle, escape from obstacle? How do I define effort? For the fixed mindset, oh, if you're intelligent, why to put efforts then? But growth mindset, effort is a path to mastery. How do I take feedback? Oh, somebody saying negative about me? Oh, I'm not insecure. Why? If I'm intelligent, how can you give me negative feedback? But if I have a growth mindset, feedback is the breakfast of champions, as told by John Maxwell, right? I take feedback because it helps me to see my blind spots. So building a
Yeah.
growth mindset is one of the very, very powerful secret. And this is what Satya Nadella brought in Microsoft to turn around Microsoft completely. When the employees were given the freedom that, listen, you can make mistakes, you can really learn things, right? You can improve over a period of time. And I think these two things, one is mastering happiness, not waiting for happiness to happen, that okay, let me have the promotion this year and then we'll go for a party. No, do not wait for it. Can you right now, start cultivating happiness? And they did the research in companies, and they found when the company's employees started practicing these habits of happiness, like writing a mail of appreciation to somebody in the office, or practicing gratitude, in a matter of 3 to 6 months time, their performance increased by 30 to 50%. The
Wow.
results improved by 50% in a way. So I think, many tools, but these two. Can you start creating more of happiness? One. And can you develop a growth mindset that no matter who am I right now, I get to improve with my practice, with my challenges, with my effort. And that gives me a lot of hope for the future then, because I'm in work in progress, not a fixed label given computer, right?
Work in
So yeah, these
progress.
two things
Yeah.
I would win.
Growth
Absolutely.
mindset, work in progress. Nick, make a note of that. This is gold mine. Thank you so much. We are very close to finishing, but two quick questions. One, before people, if for everybody out there, I we know we had a tech glitch, but which is fine. I'm sure we it will reach you if it has to reach you. Don't worry on that. As I'm sure we'll find this video. But and if you have a questions, if you have questions, do put it up. So Avinash, first question, briefly, how does your day looks like? Is that something that you plan and manifest and do something about it, or you go with the flow?
There are broader things I've put in place, that there is a time for learning. I'm a massive in learning. Like I have to spend at least 30% of my time in learning, because I feel that the faster you learn, the faster you earn, right? So that thing is on, because the world is changing such a fast pace in a way. So one is that. Second is there is time for self work, which is meditation, which is my own practices, visualization, all of it, and then a lot of free time in which I flow through it, right? There's a broader agenda, but I flow through it in terms of what works needs to be done, not just what demands my attention right now, but if I see my vision, am I doing something today which is pushing me towards my vision in a way? So these two, three factors, apart from the daily work, these two, three things are compulsorily my learning, my self inner work, and something has to be done in the day which is towards my vision. Because most people I find, sometimes even myself, we are so much bogged down with the current action and the current urgencies that we do not see the 10 years down the line. And in fact, working for a 10-year goal, a big goal gives you a higher possibility of achieving the goal, but nobody hardly puts effort for 10 years time or 5 years time in a way. So for me, every day at least some time goes in doing something which pushes me towards my 5-10 year goal as well. So these two things broadly, and then the daily sessions and the coaching calls and all those things goes in.
Outstanding. So it's about learning, it's about flow time, it's about reaching towards your goal, and especially the bigger ones, the vision board that if you may have, it's about how do I reach there and take action. I think one is
Yeah.
manifestation, and second is about taking an action. And I come to the last one. What are the two, three big myths about the entire manifestation? One you broke was about this is not just about putting a picture there and just thinking about and staring it. It is far more deeper, and there is a science and wisdom. But what are the other two, three myths that you want to break today, which most people carry
Yeah.
about this entire process and law of attraction, manifestation,
So
everything?
yeah. So one myth is that you can manifest anything. That's not possible. You can't take
Okay.
rebirth. You can't take a birth again in US now. You are born in India, you're born in India. You're born gender male, you are gender male and gender female, right? You can't change those things. You can't change your family. Certain things are beyond our scope. But a lot of things are within our control. Our future, to a large extent, the things we have, the relationships, the work, the money, those things can be done still. So there is a differentiation for sure, what you can, what you cannot do, number one. Number two, the second myth is that I will sit for manifestation. I will practice manifestation. That doesn't work out. You cannot not manifest. Because right now, also, though you're not manifesting consciously, but aren't you thinking thoughts right now? Aren't you feeling emotions right now? And those thoughts and emotions have a certain energy to it. So imagine 24 to 7, there is a energy creation which is happening throughout the day by the thoughts and emotions you have. So you cannot not manifest throughout the day just by having this natural flow of thoughts and emotion. Your energy keeps shifting, keeps changing. It's like the broadcast keeps happening, and the sum total of it in maybe a year's time, month's time, kind of shows you a bigger picture. But no bigger picture happens overnight. This is small, tiny things combined together, and no, it works it out. Number two. Number three, thinking, thinking that you can manifest small things, but not the bigger things, right? You can manifest maybe a car parking, maybe a auto, and maybe taxi, but you cannot manifest a bigger reality, which is really living a dream life, maybe a goal for 10 years, 5 years, which is massive. Those are not us. Those are people who are special people, gifted people. Just by the pure virtue of you being a human being, you carry within you immense power, immense potential. It's a different thing that you may have a Ferrari and you can use it just to, use as a garbage bin. You can do that part. And that's what we do in a way. We are tremendously powerful beings, but because we have very little self knowledge about who we are, about the mind, about the emotion. Now, touch wood with science, neuroscience, these are now discovering these things right now. uh, we are gifted people. If somebody can spend even 30 minutes per day to work on themselves, especially controlling the mind, mastering the emotions, I think you can literally watching the future with infinite possibilities, especially the time we are in right now, where a 4 year 5 year old kid has a YouTube channel and he earns in millions, or a 90-year-old guy writes a book and becomes a bestseller and becomes a millionaire. We are talking about infinite possibilities, and the only limitation is your perception, which is what can I do, what I can't do, right? So, moment you start changing your company in terms of the people you stay with, right, your thought process changes, and you have to be with people, those people, and as Tony Robbins says, proximity is power. Can you be with the smartest people around? Maybe in a may not be physically, but can you be in that group on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on podcasts, where you see and get to hear these ideas? Because I think that influences the mind a lot in terms of opening it in a way. Most of us are the most intelligent people in our room, and that's the sure short path of becoming the dumbest tomorrow in the future. Be the dumbest guy in the room. I heard this from Sahil. He's an influencer on LinkedIn, on Twitter. That be the dumbest guy in the room, and that's when you have scope of learning and improving very very fast. So I think future holds immense potential, and if somebody can be really serious about it, sincere about it, and do the work, you're talking about living a great life for yourself. Whether you believe or not, the possibility exists.
Wow, thank you. I can listen to this for next few hours, Avinash. The energy that you are sharing is phenomenal. While there is a physical camera and a screen in between, but I could sense that. I'm sure audience you can also. But that was super amazing. I hear words like limitless, and my coach used to say, "I as the instrument of the change. I am the instrument of the change." Right. So and And I also, when I was started creating my content, this is kind of a serendipity, but if you guys know the word passion, right? And if you take out I, it becomes pass on. So, from the pass on, you just put I yourself into it. That's the possibility. That's the infinite possibility. Pass on becomes something which you could be passionate about. So, with that, I'm opening the floor for questions, guys. If there are questions, type it out. I will take it on your behalf with Avinash. Otherwise, yeah, yeah. Let me see if there are any questions coming in.
I hope the live is
Okay.
on LinkedIn.
So there has been, I think a lot of people are not able to access it, but we'll find a way, as I said, to ensure that it reaches there. But yeah, I think hopefully we'll have some follow-up questions. But anyways, ways, thank you so much, Avinash, for your time. Thank you so much for making it here. I had a lot of points that I picked up. I think you helped me learn quite a lot of things and demystify quite a lot of things. And there's some points which I personally now need to think more about. But thank you so much for your time. I'm sure this is gonna create difference to lives of people and help them become better.
Ketan, thank you so much. I really enjoyed. This is something which I breathe, I live every single day. So I'm so happy to be here and share. I hope somebody listening to this would have some, some trigger of some thoughts to maybe possibly start something, on their own in terms of their own dream and journey. So thank you so much for the invitation, Ketan. Absolutely my pleasure to be here.
Yeah, and Tripti says, truly insightful and wonderful said. Thanks for sharing these thoughts. Manifestation is making everything you want to feel and experience a reality via your thought, action, belief, and emotion. Wow, Tripti, I
How
think
about
I
if we
think you
just
nailed
summarize the entire thing? Amazing, amazing, Tripti.
absolutely.
Amazing.
All right. With that, thank you so much and have a phenomenal weekend, guys. Thank you, Praveen. Thank you.